Mortgage Coach University series. And I think it's very important for us to start off and know how you could potentially access some of the training sessions, excuse me, that you may have missed. Let me go ahead and show you the full itinerary here, and I want to make sure that you know how to access our YouTube channel so that you could view these particular presentations should you have missed one. So let's do this first off. Of course, this is the March Madness series, and my name is Brian Mehring, and with the series we went over a variety of different strategies as well as teaching you how to utilize some of the basic functions of how to build a mortgage coach presentation. And before I go too far along into today's training session, I do want to make sure that I'm coming through loud and clear and that you can see this particular slide. It's showing the March Madness MCU Special Edition. If you could see that, maybe if you could do me a favor and type in the question area. Let's do the city of where you're located in the U.S. Type in the city that you're located in the question area of the GoToWebinar control panel, and that way I know that I'm coming through loud and clear and you can see my screen. I'd appreciate it. Okay, a little bit of delay there. It looks like it's starting to come in. Okay, perfect. Thank you. It's getting a little concerned there. That's somebody doing a webinar's worst nightmare is when they're talking and moving through slides, and then they find out 5-10 minutes into the presentation nobody spoke up and nobody's hearing or seeing anything. So thanks so much. I appreciate it, folks. We have, let's see, Maryland, Georgia, and Boston, some Southern California, all over the place. Okay, excellent. Great. So in week one, these were the particular strategies. I'm not going to go through and go over each and every one, but if you take a quick look, you can see some of the different things that we covered in each of these different weeks. Here's week 2, and then here's week 3, and then finally here we are in week 4, and today's final training session. The topic that we're going to be covering is the strategy of creating a cost of waiting presentation. And just to give you a little bit of an idea of how you as a mortgage professional can use this mortgage coach presentation, you're going to want to use it with not only your borrowers, but also as a way of educating your realtor partners. Don't forget about them, because they are in the day-to-day, they're out there in the trenches, and they need some help in motivating people to go ahead and continue forward with particular transactions. And this applies for builders as well. If you're fortunate enough to be working with a builder and have them releasing new construction through different phases, this is a presentation that could be very helpful for you as well, but also with your realtor partners. And I'm going to explain the strategy before I actually show you how to build the presentation first. But I think it's important for you to kind of get the concept of why and connect the dots to see how this could potentially help you in working with both your borrowers and your realtor partners. Now, before we do that, I do want to make sure that, as I mentioned earlier, that you know how to access any of these training sessions that life happens. I mean, you're busy. You probably weren't able to attend each and every one of these, but should you want to get that content, let me make sure that you know where that's located. So from the mortgagecoach.com website, you can actually, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, I want to show you that we do have a YouTube channel. And I would encourage you folks to subscribe to it. And I'm going to click on the icon right down here. Hopefully you can see it. And that's going to drive me right to our YouTube channel. And then I would highly encourage you to go ahead and subscribe to it, like I said, so that you can have access to all of these, coaching sessions that our CEO Dave Savage has, and then also the playlists that we've created for you. So I'm going to click on the playlist. And the one that we're working on right now is the March Madness Mortgage Coach University 2017. If you click on that, you can see that there are 19 videos in there. So it corresponds with each of the different days that we had these different training topics. If you click on that, you can see it's broken down by date and the particular topic. So you could go through it. Should you have missed one, view the presentation. You can see that they're anywhere between, say, 30 to 40 minutes in length. You can, fast forward through them, go to the areas of the content that are going to be most beneficial for you. So I just want to make sure that you know how to be able to access that resource so that, you can catch up on these particular presentations. All right, so with that, what I'm going to do then is I'm going to bring up my mobile device. And with my mobile device, I want to demonstrate the topic that we're going to be covering today, which is a cost of waiting presentation. I'm going to show you the mobile version right now. And this is an Apple device. Let me go ahead and make it nice and big so you can see it real easy. And I would encourage you folks to build a presentation like this, and it could be a marketing or a generic presentation. It doesn't have to be specific to a borrower. And the reason that I'm saying that is that you'll have the ability the next time that you meet with a realtor partner to explain to them how this particular strategy could help them with their business, along with you, of course. So again, this is the what a client, a realtor partner would see when they look at your particular presentation. It would have all your branding on it, all your contact information, and all your logo. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the summary area up here to show you a little bit about the presentation. So you can see that there's 4 particular products that are built, and each of these products are representing, say, a different strategy for what could potentially happen if somebody decides to wait and not move forward and take advantage of the opportunity that they currently have under the current market conditions. So I'm going to start off with the buy now option. I'm going to highlight that real quick. So with the buy now option, oops, you know what, I forgot to activate a feature here. Let me go back. My mistake. Let me go back. I want to do the live reporting with you so that you can I could use the highlight tool as I'm going through that. Let me locate that particular one. And you can see that I have some templates that I utilize for training, and then you could utilize that same strategy for presentations with your realtors, so that when you're meeting with somebody, this is a particular one that I want to activate. I'm going to use the live reporting feature. Okay, I'm going to click on the summary area here and that first product, the buy now option. So you can make these purchase prices what the number is that's relevant for your particular area. In this case, I'm utilizing a figure of $399. You can see that the purchase price is $399,000. And this is assuming that the borrower is going to put, it looks like about a 10% down payment. And in putting the 10% down payment with the current market conditions, now this was what was applicable when I built the presentation. You, of course, can update this and change it once you've got one built. I think rates are probably a little bit higher now for that particular area, but just take that with a grain of salt. You can always adjust these rates. Now, in purchasing a home for $399,000 at a rate of 4%, this would mean that the borrower's monthly payment, and I believe this is a total monthly payment, taxes and insurance, would be $2,545.79. Now, if they get cold feet and they think that that purchase price is too great, and they want to go ahead and wait potentially for maybe a drop, which is very unlikely in the current market, and try and secure a property, say at $382. Maybe that was a particular price point that they're stuck on. They don't want to move up to that $399 price point. Or in some instances, we've seen originators use this particular strategy when somebody gets say they put an offer in, the offer gets countered, and they don't want to move forward. And the way that this particular strategy can come in very handy is that it takes a decision that could be being made on an emotional level to a, say, a numerical or a decision that could be made based upon logic rather than emotion. So if they can't get past going ahead and moving forward and taking advantage of the current market conditions with the buy now and moving forward and purchasing that home at $399, taking advantage of where the rates are at now, if rates were to go up to say 4.5%, their monthly payment is basically going to remain the same, but now they're purchasing a home that is about $20,000 less in value because of the rate increase. Their purchase power has decreased. In order for them to get that same payment that they could take advantage of now under the current market conditions, should rates increase, and that's potentially a factor in the cost of waiting. If they wait and rates go up 0.5 point, this is the picture that could potentially come into play for them. So their payment could be exactly the same, but they've now just bought a home that's about $20,000 less than what they could have taken advantage of under the current market. Now, what happens if they can't secure that drop? What happens if they have to go ahead and move forward and purchase that home at $399,000, but say 3-4 months later, and rates have increased to that 4.5% again? Look how their monthly payment has changed. It's now increased by $200. So you're painting the picture with your client as to what potentially can happen if they remain on the fence by showing them how a 0.5% increase in rate will affect their monthly payment. And in this case, it's pretty substantial. That's a $200 a month increase from what they could take advantage of under the current market. Now, as you know, we're in a hot market right now, and home prices are increasing. Inventory is very low. So what happens in a lot of cases, a home might be listed at $400,000, $399,000, but it may actually, by the time the seller accepts an offer, there might have been a bidding war, and it's actually increased to the point where that $400,000 price point is now $415,000. And that's the case with new construction as well. With new construction, when a builder is releasing phases, they most likely have a price increase with each of the different phases. So here again, you're showing the borrower, your realtor partners, the builders that you're working with, how you could paint the picture of how that buyer's payment will be affected by both a price increase and potentially a rate increase. So here again, I'm demonstrating the 4.5%. Look at the impact that it's going to have on the buyer's monthly payment there. That's, a $200 increase right there. So it's pretty substantial in each of the cases. So it provides you with the opportunity that your buyer should take action while they have that opportunity sitting in front of them, rather than delaying and possibly being subject to either a rate increase or a combination of both a rate and a price increase. So let's go ahead and show you how you could build this particular strategy, and I also want to demonstrate to you how you could build it as a marketing presentation. And as you saw earlier when I was scrolling through my dashboard here, my mobile dashboard, I had several presentations already built, and I labeled them utilizing the friendly name feature. I hit that search so that I could go through and I could quickly see what type of presentation was built and how I could potentially share that should the opportunity present itself. There was that cost of waiting one right here. So I would encourage you to build these types of presentations, have them available so that when you get that opportunity to meet with either a client or a realtor, you can introduce that strategy and share with them how it's going to potentially help them. So let's go ahead now and access the Mortgage Coach Edge wizard. And let's start off and build a presentation. So just like any other type of presentation, once you access the Mortgage Coach Edge wizard on your computer, your desktop, or your laptop, you're going to click on New Clients. And as I mentioned earlier, I would suggest doing this as a marketing presentation so that you could save it and title it, Report Headline, Cost of Waiting. So it's a marketing presentation that we're going to save in our database, and it's going to be titled Cost of Waiting. Now this is going to be for a purchase transaction, and as I mentioned earlier, you can use whatever price point is relevant to your area. Earlier in the call I was pointing out that we have people from pretty much all over the United States on this particular call, so there's going to be a lot of different, say, average purchase prices. I'm going to go ahead and use a purchase price of about $600,000, which would be here in Southern California. And I can go ahead and input this data here. Remember, in utilizing the Mortgage Coach Edge wizard, only the data or the fields that are highlighted in red are required to have you input data there. So I'm going to quickly navigate through this and go right into the product area and begin building my first product option. Now, the first product, and you can adjust these names by all means, but the thing for their first product is you're always putting that as, you know, the current situation as we stand right now. If they take advantage of buying a home, buy now, right now, this is what they could expect. I'll go ahead and put a 20% down payment down for this particular scenario. And I'm going to go ahead and put in an interest rate of, say, 4.25%. This will be a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. We'll go ahead and move forward. And I can go ahead and put in my closing costs if I wish to. I'm going to go ahead and utilize a template that I have in place here. By now you've been, by attending any one of our training sessions, you're probably very familiar, I would hope, with how you would use the fee templates. I'm going to go ahead and arrow forward. Now, because I'm doing this as a marketing presentation, I'm going to choose to not include any hazard insurance or property taxes. The reason behind doing that is because this is a marketing presentation. I don't have any specific data that would apply to a borrower's specific situation. So that's the buy now option. Now I'm going to go ahead and paint the picture for my client that we're going to add another product, and I'm going to show them how their purchase power could potentially be affected should they try and wait for a drop or wait for a particular situation to occur. So I'll paint the picture here as wait, and I'll use the word wait for drop. And in this particular situation, I'm going to try and tie in and show them that if there's a particular rate increase, how it could potentially end up giving them the same monthly payment, but they're going to end up buying a home that's less than that $600,000 home. So let me come over here. And if they're married to a particular payment, I'm going to show them in this particular situation as to what price point that they're going to be able to buy if that rate were to increase. So I'm going to go ahead and increase the rate by about 0.5 point. That first rate was I used 4 3/4, and I can go ahead and make my life even real easy, copy from the buy now, and then just do a little bit of editing here. So I'm going to bump up that rate to 4.75%. When I arrow forward, because I used the copy from, it's going to go ahead and bring in the cost that I've already associated. And you can see already up here, that payment is increased by about $140. So then what I'll do is I'll come over here and I'll show them I'll just adjust this price point slightly. Let's go down to say 575. Arrow forward. The payment still doesn't quite match that, so I can even go a little bit lower. Let's go to 560. And that's a little too low. I'll just dive in. I'm kind of a perfectionist. I want to get it really, really close. So I'm going to go at 565. That's pretty close. These two payments now are within, say, $5 of each other. Now, what I'm doing is I'm showing the client that they're no longer in the $600,000 price point. They've now just lost $35,000 in purchase power because of that rate increase. So they can't buy that $600,000 home. They have to look at a home that's about $35,000 less in value. And the point that I'm trying to make is that buying a home can be a very emotional experience for people. And when you're building a presentation like this, it takes some of the emotion out of it, and you're putting together numbers for them so that the decision could then be based upon logic rather than emotion. And you could show them that, you know, if you don't move forward and you have to keep your payment at that particular price point or that particular out-of-pocket expense of, you know, $2,350, right around in that neighborhood, what's going to happen then is you're going to have to look at a home that is less in value than that $600,000 that you could take advantage of buying right now. So that could be a way that you could help your realtor partner, you know, get somebody off the fence and not make such a big issue over that difference in potential payment. Okay, so the next product that we're going to build, let me go to wait for drop. We'll then show them what's going to happen if, in fact, they don't get that lower price point, to show them, you know, how much more their payment's going to increase. So this is going to be buy later. And again, you could use these titles as long as you understand the concept of how you're positioning this presentation. You could utilize those particular titles. You can name these your products anything that you like. I'm going to go ahead and copy from again. I'll copy from the buy now option, and then I'm just going to do a little bit of editing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bump up that rate to 4.75%. So the rates have increased, and they're still buying at that $600,000 price point. So if they choose to wait rather than move forward, now let's show them the impact on their payment. Well, you can see that up here in the top right hand corner now, I now have 3 products that I'm showing them. This is the buy later. And you can see the difference between the payment now, if they wait and still are able to get that $600,000 price point, but rates have increased, you'll see the effect on their monthly payment. And lastly, let's go ahead and build a final product option. And in this case, let's go ahead and paint the picture that, like I was saying earlier, what happens if not only rates increase, but what happens if the price increases as well? So this is a combination of those two factors, and you're painting the picture as to what potentially could happen for the client. So in this case, what I did on the mobile, I labeled this particular product, and it could be like, you know, worst case scenario, write different names, but price and rate increase. I mean, you have complete control of how you can name these particular products. In this case, I'm going to go ahead, copy, and I will copy from the last one that I did. And you can see that the rate is increased, but what happens if now the price also increases from $600 to say $625? So a $25,000 increase, and you can see the effect on the payment. Let's go ahead. Now you can see that I do have 4 products up here. So when I get to this particular area, that green button that says add another product will no longer be available because you have a maximum of 4 products built. So let me go ahead and go forward. And in this case, you can see that it's set up so that it's showing how much they will save over each of these particular areas. One of the ways that you could really drive across this particular presentation is actually to adjust the monthly savings benchmark and adjust it from the highest to the buy now option, and take a look at the impact that it has on your graph now. So what it's showing in this case is that if they buy now, that's the best scenario. If they wait and they don't move forward and they suffer a rate increase, well, they might be able to get the same payment that they were hoping to achieve, but they're not buying a $600,000 home. They're buying a $565,000 home. Let me give you a preview of the presentation so that I think it'll be a little bit more clear for you. So because I adjusted that monthly benchmark up here in the top right analysis area, the monthly payment savings, you can see that they can no longer buy a $600,000 home. They're buying a $565,000 home to be able to get the same monthly payment that they were hoping to maintain. It's a difference of about $3. Now when you go into the buy later, if they decide to wait and they have to go ahead and buy it at that price, that $600,000 home, but rates have increased, and you can see the areas that I'm highlighting, you can see the impact on their monthly payment. Well, it's increased by about $143 a month. And if that's somebody that is on the cusp of getting, say, an approved eligible cert and not, this again is you're doing them a service by taking that emotional decision and making it a numerical decision, one based more upon, say, logic rather than the emotion tied to it. And then if they wait, and the worst case scenario happens where both the price and the rate increase, you can see the impact. Well, the builder just increased the price point because they're going from phase 2 to phase 3, and all the homes have gone up $25,000 in cost. In addition, by waiting, you have the potential for a rate increase. This is what your monthly payment could look like. It could increase by as much as $247 a month. So again, you could adjust these price points to numbers that are relevant in your area, and hopefully you can connect the dots now and see how you're painting the picture for the clients and with your realtor partners, and being able to utilize this particular strategy to help somebody make a very important financial decision based upon numbers rather than emotion. Because if they're married to this particular payments and they're stuck on the fence and they were hoping to get the price at $565, but they get the counter back at $600, in order for them to maintain that same payment, I mean, with a half a point increase, they're not buying a $600,000 home. They're buying a $565,000 home. So I'm going to pause now for a moment, make sure that I address any questions that you may have, and you can see how quickly the presentation was able to be built utilizing the copy from feature. Once you build your first one, you're just editing a couple points, and I just wanted to make sure that you understand the strategy behind how you're changing different variables for the products that you're showing to both your potential clients and your realtor partners. So again, I'll pause here for a moment. Please feel free to type any questions that you may have in the question area, and I'll make sure that we get those taken care of for you. And I am recording this session. It's going to be recorded and added to that playlist that I showed you how to access earlier. And this is our final presentation of the Mortgage Coach University for March. So you're welcome to sign up for any additional training sessions that we have coming up here in the future for April. And it looks like the question area is clear. Well, folks, have a great afternoon. Have a great weekend. Be safe and get out there and crush your competition using Mortgage Coach. Have a great day. Thank you.